Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, $1 billion fuels a massive database rivalry, the AI agent ecosystem hits a Cambrian explosion, and the dead internet theory is suddenly becoming very real on our timelines.
Oh, it is getting incredibly real.
It really is. I am so thrilled you're tuning in today for this deep dive into the raw wire. We are scanning the absolute bleeding edge of the market, the tech, and the culture to figure out, not just what's happening, but the underlying mechanics of what it actually means for you.
Exactly.
Beside me is my co-host, who is perpetually ready to look past the hype, scrutinize those structural foundations, and ask the truly uncomfortable questions about, well, who is footing the bill for all of this, and who is about to face severe regulatory scrutiny. Are you ready to jump into the lead story today?
Always ready. Let's see where the capital is flowing today, because it's flowing in some wild directions.
Wild is an understatement. I mean, the capital is moving in astronomical, almost incomprehensible amounts right now. So we're kicking off with the most visceral market clash on the wire.
Okay, lay it on me.
So Sam Lambert, the CEO of PlanetScale, which for context is a highly respected managed MySQL platform, just took this blistering, incredibly public shot at their rival, Supabase.
Oh, wow. Just right out in the open.
Right out in the open. From the handle at Sam Lambert. Because Supabase just closed a funding round, bringing their total raise to a staggering $1 billion.
$1 billion, with a B.
With a B. And Lambert posts this screenshot of Supabase's status page, which showed 99.86% uptime over the last 90 days. It also showed a scheduled maintenance window for July 9, 2026. And his entire caption, just read, "Complete amateurs."
Man, that's a ruthless critique, but we really need to look at the underlying mathematics of what he's actually mocking there.
Right, because 99.86% sounds pretty good to most people.
Exactly. It sounds perfectly acceptable to a layperson, like an A-. But in the enterprise database architecture world, that actually translates to roughly an hour and 15 minutes of complete downtime every single month.
Wow, an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. And if you are running, say, a global logistics application or a massive fintech platform, your database going dark for over an hour is a catastrophic revenue event. It's totally unacceptable.
That makes sense. It's a huge deal.
And pointing out that scheduled maintenance window highlights a fundamental architectural difference, too. PlanetScale engineered their whole platform around zero downtime schema migrations. So they are fundamentally questioning whether throwing $1 billion at an open-source Postgres backend actually buys you a technical moat, or if it just buys you a really expensive marketing engine.
Yeah, because you see that $1 billion valuation and it projects this aura of invincibility, It feels like they've won the space simply by securing the biggest war chest.
Right, but that assumes capital efficiency scales linearly with capital raised, which is, well, it's a classic zero interest rate hangover fallacy.
A big hangover fallacy. I like that.
It's true. The underlying question is, who actually pays for this ongoing database war in the long term? Securing $1 billion for an open-source company creates this massive valuation anchor. It demands exponential revenue growth just to satisfy the investors.
So they're going to have to squeeze their users eventually.
Exactly. It forces you to aggressively monetize your open-source community down the line. You have to wonder if this capital is a strategic advantage or just a giant target on their back that forces them to extract value from the exact developers who championed them in the first place.
That is such a good point. And, if an astronomical war chest creates a target, then the startups that are surviving today are operating under entirely different parameters.
Oh, absolutely. It's a totally different game now.
Which connects directly to this highly circulated thread today from the handle at @adcock_Brett. Brett Adcock. He was detailing his journey of taking a startup from concept to a public company.
Right, I saw that one.
Yeah, and he argued the startup ecosystem possesses what he calls a great filter. And this filter is specifically designed to weed out individuals who basically lack the psychological stamina to build companies. He argues that relentless iteration and persistence beat capital every single time.
Yeah, he said the only actual failure is the act of quitting, right?
Exactly. Quitting is the only real failure.
Adcock is really highlighting the gritty reality that those billion-dollar headlines completely obscure. He's talking about enduring continuous compounding failures. And that actually pairs perfectly with the strategic advice we saw on The Wire today at Alex Hormozi.
Oh, yeah. Hormozi's post was everywhere.
Right. And Hormozi noted that when founders face the overwhelming chaos of scaling a business, the only functional antidote is prioritization, elimination, and consolidation.
Elimination. Just cutting things out.
Exactly. It's not about expanding your scope. It is about aggressively contracting it to focus on the one core mechanism that actually drives revenue.
Okay, but let's challenge that premise for a second. Scaling a startup is often compared to, like, trying to drink from a fire hose while building the fire engine, right?
Right. It's chaos.
It is chaos.
Hmm.
So does unlimited capital like Supabase's $1 billion, does that actually prevent a company from executing that ruthless elimination?
How do you mean?
Well, I mean, if you have unlimited runway, you're never really forced to prioritize. You can just hire entire departments to solve minor inconveniences. You can build bloated features that literally no one asked for. So does the sheer volume of money become the very thing that kills the operational discipline Hormozy is talking about?
Oh, 100%. Scarcity forces clarity. When a company holds $1 billion in reserve, their specific great filter isn't a lack of resources. It becomes a complete lack of focus.
Wow. A lack of focus.
Yeah. The organizations that collapse with overflowing bank accounts, they usually die of indigestion, not starvation.
That is a great way to put it.
Okay.
Indigestion.
They attempt to build everything simultaneously. They optimize absolutely nothing, and then they eventually just fracture under the weight of their own operational complexity.
Well, if those bloated companies die of indigestion, the organizations replacing them right now aren't relying on massive teams or billion-dollar raises at all.
No, they're taking a completely different route.
They are surviving by automating their workforce entirely. We are officially entering the agentic era, and today's Wire shows we are crossing a profound technical threshold.
And let's be clear, the transition from software functioning as a static tool to software operating as an autonomous worker, that is the most disruptive event in modern computing.
Without a doubt.
The benchmarks dropping today indicate we are no longer just theorizing about this shift. It's happening.
It really is. AI thinker Rune Handel at TSZZL highlighted a benchmark showing that cost-effective, lightweight models, specifically GLM 5.2, are now outperforming pricier, heavier models like Opus 4.8 on automated post-training tasks.
That is a massive deal.
It is. Rune predicts a, quote, Cambrian explosion of minds. We are crossing this threshold where AI models are now capable of refining, grading, and training other AI models. He really believes authoring custom minds is about to become this accessible art form.
The mechanism of models post-training other models represents a fundamental break in the development bottleneck. Like, historically, the bottleneck in AI advancement has always been human labeling.
Right, RLHF and all that human reinforcement.
Exactly. It requires thousands of hours of human labor to tell an AI if its output is good or bad. But if a cheaper model can reliably evaluate, refine, and optimize the outputs of other models without any human intervention, you create a self-improving recursive loop.
It just feeds itself.
Yes. We transition from relying on a few generalized monoliths built by OpenAI or Anthropic to an ecosystem of millions of hyper-specialized, bespoke models tailored to highly specific corporate datasets.
But, you know, before we declare the arrival of a million specialized minds, developer Matt Pocock at Matt Pocock offered a pretty sobering reality check today.
Oh, I'm sure he threw some cold water on it. What did he say?
He literally stated, quote, evils on skills are hard is the understatement of the year.
Oh, yeah. He's not wrong.
He points out that while making a simple AI classifier is, trivial, building harness-agnostic skills that actually function across different agent frameworks is incredibly difficult and costly.
Well, yeah, because an agent's utility is entirely dependent on our ability to evaluate its success.
Right. If you can't grade it, it's useless.
Exactly. For a simple Python script, the evaluation is binary. Does the code compile? Do the tests pass? Yes or no? But that whole mechanism of evaluation completely breaks down when you ask an agent to perform, like subjective or strategic work.
Give me an example.
Like, if you command an agent to research our competitors and draft a marketing strategy, how do you computationally evaluate the quality of that strategy?
You can't. Not really.
Right. Building the infrastructure to test and evaluate autonomous, multi-step skills is currently far more complex than engineering the actual skills themselves.
Well, some developers are bypassing those evaluation hurdles by they're simply handing the AI the keys to the kingdom to see what happens.
Oh, this is where it gets scary.
It gets really wild. Peter Steinberger at STEIPETE demonstrated this astonishing setup today. He is solving the end-to-end testing problem by giving his OpenClaw AI agent its own dedicated macOS Tahoe virtual machine.
A dedicated VM just for the agent.
Yes. He is using CrabBox and Parallels to sandbox the environment, and this agent is literally operating inside the VM. It's running scripts, it's managing its own downloads, and it is autonomously clicking past Chrome security warnings.
It's clicking past the warning.
Yes. And escalating this even further, at Vercel_dev just announced that their Vercel Sandbox now supports FUSC-based file systems.
Okay, we really need to unpack the mechanism of that Vue.js integration because it fundamentally changes how AI interacts with infrastructure.
Break it down for us.
A FUSC file system essentially allows an AI to treat a remote cloud storage bucket exactly like a local hard drive on its own physical computer.
So it doesn't have to download the files.
Exactly. It can rummage through massive petabyte-scale remote files. It can execute POCX command line tools against them and stream data without ever having to actually download the files locally.
So we are handing AI direct, frictionless access to the file system.
Which is incredibly powerful for automation, sure, but it introduces terrifying second-order security effects. Like, are we engineering highly capable super interns, or are we constructing highly efficient security liabilities?
That's a great question.
Think about the mechanism of Steinberger's agent clicking past a Chrome security warning. An agent programmed to blindly bypass browser warnings to execute a download is an agent that can be socially engineered.
Oh, like by a malicious external prompt.
Yes, a malicious prompt could trick it into downloading and executing ransomware inside a protected corporate network.
That is, wow, that's a nightmare. And because these agents possess such profound capabilities and frankly reckless tendencies, the workflow layer is rapidly evolving to constrain them.
They have to build better leashes.
Right. So developer Min Choi at MINCHOI highlighted a tool built by Mylan Labs called Model Shift, and it is a literal virtual gear shifter interface built into macOS and Tumux.
Tumux is the terminal multiplexer, right?
Exactly. The tool developers use to manage multiple command line windows. So coders can manually physically shift gears between Claude models. They can shift from the lightweight Haiku up to Sonnet, then Opus, and finally the heavy Fable model, live in their coding sessions based entirely on the task complexity.
That is fascinating. The tactile metaphor of a car gear shifter makes the abstract process of cost optimization really visceral.
It totally does.
Because, you do not need the heavy, expensive cognitive overhead of Fable 5 to just write basic boilerplate HTML.
No, that's a waste of money.
But you absolutely require that deep reasoning for complex architectural routing. So shifting gears forces the developer to actively weigh the latency and financial cost of every single prompt.
But of course, Simon Willison at SIMONW figured out how to automate the transmission entirely.
Naturally, what did he do?
He shared a workflow for Fable 5 where he explicitly prompts the top-tier model. He literally tells it, for all coding tasks, use your judgment to decide an appropriate lower power model and run that in a sub-agent.
Oh, that is incredibly smart.
Right. He allows the premium model to act as the senior project manager, and it delegates the repetitive syntax generation down to Haiku or Sonnet, saving massive amounts of tokens.
That's the way to do it.
And meanwhile, Anthropic engineer Tariq at TRQ212 posted that the real secret to extracting value from these models is discovering your own unknowns first.
Discovering your unknowns.
Yeah, he runs these blind spot passes and teach me unknowns interfaces with Fable before a single line of code is written, just to surface ambiguities in his own architecture documents.
I love that. The AI is literally forcing the human to elevate their standard of planning. The model will ruthlessly expose any logical gap in your instructions.
It really will. And to manage all this intense planning phase, Dylan Mulroy at Dylan_Mulroy built Planetator. It's a dedicated browser interface designed solely to visually annotate and review AI coding plans and diffs.
Because the sheer volume of output requires specialized viewing tools now.
Exactly. Yet, despite these intricate sub-agent routines and all these visual planners, developer Jason at JXNLCO pointed out that engineers are actually still using standard ChatGPT in a browser right alongside specialized tools like Codex.
Really? Why would they just use the specialized tools for everything?
Well, they do it to avoid API rate limits, sure, but more importantly, they do it to keep their primary coding context windows perfectly clean.
Ah, that makes perfect sense. The context window is essentially an agent's short-term memory.
Right.
And developers are fiercely protecting it. Like if you ask your primary coding agent a random question about a tangential bug, you pollute its memory with irrelevant tokens, and that directly degrades its performance on your specific code base.
So they are utilizing ChatGPT as the disposable scratch pad and Codex as the sterilized scalpel.
Exactly.
The evolution of the developer's role is just striking right now. I think we can say the era of the lone coder typing syntax in a dark room is over.
Long gone.
Engineers are no longer the pilots flying the plane. They have become air traffic controllers. They sit in a tower, managing the flight paths of dozens of autonomous subagents, just ensuring they don't crash into each other.
It's a total paradigm shift.
But the question is, does this actually save time, or have developers merely traded the job of writing logic for the job of managing a highly chaotic, unpredictable team of synthetic juniors?
Well, the dark irony of becoming an air traffic controller is that most software engineers entered the field specifically because they love the tactile logic of writing syntax, right?
Oh yeah, they actively avoid project management and human resources.
Exactly. And now the AI generates the syntax instantaneously. And the developer's entire day consists of reviewing code diffs, managing subagent workflows, and writing exhaustive requirement documents. They have basically automated away the precise aspect of the job they enjoyed and infinitely scaled the project management tasks they historically despised.
That is brutally ironic. And, if the builders of this technology are wrestling with these unexpected consequences, it begs a crucial question. How does this high-level agentic architecture actually impact the average consumer?
That's the real question.
Because while we sit here and analyze UC file systems and context windows, the reality for the broader public is vastly different.
Oh, completely. We really have to address the distribution of the future here, because the industry is currently operating inside a deeply insulated tech bubble.
A massive bubble. And user Chubby at KIMOMONISMUS posted a severe reality check about this exact bubble today.
What was the reality check?
He pointed out that while the tech avant-garde is debating automated subroutines and Fable 5 benchmarks, 99% of the population only interacts with the heavily restricted free tier of ChatGPT, or, those AI overviews forcibly injected at the top of Google searches.
Right, the Google AI summaries.
Yeah. The general public has absolutely no concept of what an autonomous agent even is.
And their limited interaction with that highly sterilized, free tier AI fundamentally dictates their perception of the technology's ceiling. They think that's all it can do.
Which leads directly to the cultural exhaustion. Lee Robinson at LEEROB sparked a debate over today.
Oh, I read this, the creative slop debate.
Yes. He argued that current large language models are fundamentally incompatible with great creative writing. Because, while coding possesses a verifiable reward like the code compiles, the application runs nonfiction AI writing lacks that binary success state.
Right, it's totally subjective.
Exactly. And he says even when utilizing the most advanced models available, he just cannot prompt them to write with a true human edge. It inevitably degenerates into generic, recognizable slop.
We really must understand the mechanism causing that degradation. It's not an accident. No, it is a direct result of RLHF reinforcement, learning from human feedback.
Explain that for the listeners.
So these models are fine-tuned by armies of human raters instructed to ensure the AI remains helpful, harmless, and honest. But in practice, that optimization relentlessly favors pleasantness over precision.
Pleasantness over precision.
Exactly. It chemically averages out the text to ensure it offends the absolute minimum number of people.
Right.
But great creative writing relies entirely on tension, surprise, and jarring, highly specific vocabulary. The underlying mathematical logic of an RLHF-trained model is explicitly designed to eradicate tension.
Wow. It's literally designed to kill the edge, which perfectly explains why the dead internet theory is manifesting as our everyday reality right now.
It really is.
The internet is drowning in this pleasant, tensionless RLHF slop. User Signal at SIGNULLL completely locked down their social media replies today.
Lock them down how?
They configured their account to only allow interactions from followers of people they personally follow.
Oh, wow. That's restrictive.
Very. They stated it was utterly untenable to leave the account open due to the unrelenting flood of low-value automated AI reply bots. Social media infrastructure is literally buckling under the weight of synthetic pleasantries.
Well, walled gardens are the natural human immune response to a polluted ecosystem. We are witnessing the complete abandonment of the open digital town square.
People are just leaving?
Yep. Users are retreating into highly curated, cryptographically or socially verified private spaces where human friction is guaranteed.
But humans aren't just retreating, right? They are also weaponizing the technology to fight back.
Oh, the counter trend. I love this part.
Yeah. Technium at TKNIUM launched a new open source skill for the Hermes agent called Unbroker. And this tool literally teaches your AI agent how to scour vast data broker platforms, locate your personal information, and automatically submit CCPA and GDPR takedown requests to rip your data off the web.
That is amazing.
It navigates the browser, fills out the complex legal forms, and even runs periodic rescans to ensure compliance.
The mechanism of Unbroker is just a brilliant example of asymmetric warfare. Think about it. For a decade, data brokers weaponized automated scraping scripts to harvest our personal information, right?
Right, they automated the theft, basically.
Exactly. While forcing consumers to navigate incredibly high-friction, manual PDF forms to request deletion, they relied on human exhaustion as a business model.
That is so true. They wanted you to give up.
So automating the deletion request completely breaks their fundamental economic structure. You are now fighting an automated extraction script with an automated, legally binding deletion script. It completely rebalances the digital power dynamic.
I love seeing high-level tech manifest in tangible, real-world applications like that. Let's close out today's Wire with two really quick, specific examples of how these underlying technologies are altering physical and digital experiences right now.
Hit me.
Physically, Chester Zelaya at CHESTERZELAYA highlighted Zach's Lab at ZACKSLAB. Their engineers strapped specialized event cameras to a boxing-heavy bag to track a fighter's millimeter displacement and striking power in the pitch dark.
Event cameras. The underlying mechanism of an event camera explains exactly why standard cameras fail in this scenario.
How so?
Well, a standard camera records 60 full frames per second. Right. It processes millions of static pixels over and over, which creates massive data bloat and motion blur during high-speed action.
Sure.
Event cameras do not capture frames. They only register individual pixels when the brightness of that specific pixel changes.
Oh, wow. So they only see what moves.
Exactly. By ignoring the static background entirely and only processing the delta of change, they drastically reduce the data payload. This achieves the microsecond-fast, ultra-low latency tracking required for elite sports biomechanics.
That is incredible. And then jumping to the digital front, Rice Sullivan at RHYSSULLIVAN ignited this fierce debate regarding SaaS user experience today.
What was the debate?
He argued that if a user is signed into an application, navigating to that company's root domain should immediately redirect them away from the marketing page and straight into the working dashboard. He cited Vercel as the gold standard of this behavior.
Oh, I bet the power users hated that.
They did. Critics pushed back aggressively, arguing that forced redirects destroy the mental models how URLs function. It actively frustrates power users who rely on incognito tabs just to check pricing pages without being thrown back into their workspace.
Well, yeah, it really highlights the permanent tension between designing for the acquired user versus the prospective buyer.
Right.
The dashboard redirect removes friction for the active developer whose goal is immediate productivity. But when you break the standardized architecture of the web to provide convenience, you completely alienate the technical users who demand predictable control over their navigation.
It's a tough balance to strike. Looking at the entirety of today's Wire, from the billion-dollar database skirmishes to AI models training their successors, the tactile gear-shifting developer tools, and the automated legal warfare of Unbroker, it really paints a picture.
It definitely does.
The current state of AI technology is, to me, comparable to a highly skilled, incredibly fast industrial bulldozer. It is an absolute miracle of engineering if your objective is to clear a 1,000-acre lot like processing petabytes of data or generating boilerplate code syntax.
Right.
But it is a profoundly destructive instrument if you ask it to landscape a delicate flower garden, like crafting authentic creative writing or engaging in nuanced social media interaction.
That's the perfect analogy. The power is undeniable, but we are severely lacking in precision. Which actually brings me to a structural prediction for tomorrow, based entirely on the trajectory of the tools we examined today.
All right, let's hear the forecast.
So we discussed developers equipping autonomous agents with dedicated virtual machines, frictionless ETC-based file systems, and explicit instructions to use their own judgment when delegating tasks to sub-agents.
Right, giving them the keys.
Exactly. Within the next 6 months, the industry is going to witness a catastrophic, highly publicized, cloud billing disaster.
Really? A disaster.
Mark my words, an autonomous subagent operating without human oversight in a sandboxed environment is going to encounter an edge case error and fall into a recursive logic loop.
Oh, no.
It will spin up thousands of parallel compute processes attempting to solve the error, and it will rack up a seven-figure AWS bill overnight.
$1 million while you sleep.
Easily. And that specific, undeniable financial event will instantly trigger aggressive regulatory crackdowns on how automated agents are legally permitted to access API credentials and financial billing limits. The capability of the technology is vastly outpacing the structural guardrails right now.
Which leaves you with a very real, very pressing question for your own stack. If an autonomous subagent hallucinates a solution and racks up $1 million cloud computing bill while you are asleep, who is legally responsible?
That's the million-dollar question, literally.
Is it you, the developer who wrote the prompt? Is it the cloud provider who allowed the recursive loop? Or is it the creator of the model who failed to hard-code the safeguard? That is something you need to deeply consider before you hand your next synthetic intern the keys to a virtual machine. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Vibecasting. We will be right back here tomorrow to decode the wire, track the capital, and help you navigate the noise. Catch you on the timeline.